Please, sir. I just need a job, anything. I just need to buy milk for my little brother. Samantha stood in the cold, her worn-out hoodie barely protecting her from the freezing wind. The towering office building in front of her felt like another world, one she didn't belong to. But she had no choice. Her 5-year-old brother, Jake, hadn't eaten properly in 2 days. Their parents were gone. She was all he had. Inside the grand lobby, men in suits and women in elegant dresses walked past her without a glance. She had tried every diner, every store, every gas station in town. Nobody wanted to hire a girl who looked like she had slept on the streets, because, well, she had. Summoning every ounce of courage, she stepped up to the front desk. The receptionist, a polished woman in a sleek blazer, barely looked at her. "I'm here for a job," Samantha said, trying to keep her voice steady. The receptionist scoffed. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but then I'm afraid—" "Who's this?" A deep voice interrupted. Samantha turned to see a man stepping out of the elevator. He was tall, commanding, his dark eyes sharp. She didn't know him, but his presence alone made the entire room go silent. The receptionist straightened. "Mr. Kingston, this girl was just leaving." The name hit Samantha like a bolt of lightning. Ethan Kingston, the billionaire CEO, the owner of this entire building. Ethan studied Samantha, his gaze unreadable. Then, to everyone's shock, he said, "Come with me." Murmurs filled the lobby as Samantha followed him toward the elevator. The receptionist's face turned pale. As the doors closed, Samantha's heart pounded. She had no idea what she had just walked into. But one thing was clear. Her life was about to change forever. The elevator ride was silent. Samantha's hands were clammy, her heart racing as Ethan Kingston stood beside her, his expression unreadable. Why had he asked her to come with him? Was he going to call security? Mock her for even stepping foot in his building? When the doors slid open, they stepped into a floor that looked nothing like the cold, professional space downstairs. A massive office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Luxurious leather chairs, a sleek black desk, and walls lined with awards and framed newspaper articles. This was his empire. Ethan gestured to the chair in front of his desk. "Sit." Samantha hesitated, then slowly sank into the chair, feeling completely out of place. He leaned back against his desk, arms crossed. "You want a job?" She swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." He studied her carefully. "What can you do?" Her throat tightened. What could she do? She didn't have a degree, no work experience, nothing that would impress a man like him. But she had to try. "I can clean, organize, learn fast. I'll do anything," she said, desperation seeping into her voice. I just need to buy some milk for my little brother." Ethan's expression flickered, just for a second. Then he turned to his desk, picked up his phone, and made a call. "Claire, bring me the hiring files for a temporary assistant," he said, then hung up. Samantha's breath caught. Assistant? That wasn't a janitor job. That wasn't a cashier job. That was important. I don't understand," she stammered. Ethan met her eyes. "You wanted a job. I'm offering you one." Her mind spun. "But why? You don't even know me." His jaw tightened slightly. "Because I know what it's like to be desperate." Before she could say another word, the door opened, and a woman walked in with a folder. Ethan took it, flipped through the pages, then placed it in front of Samantha. "This is a trial contract. 3 months. If you prove yourself, we'll talk about making it permanent." Samantha stared at the papers, her hands trembling. This was more than she had ever dared to hope for. But something still didn't make sense. She looked up at Ethan, searching his face. "What if I fail?" His lips curled slightly, almost amused. Then at least you tried. She exhaled shakily, then picked up the pen. And as she signed her name, she had no idea that this was only the beginning. Samantha's first day at Kingston Enterprises felt like stepping into another world. The polished floors, the scent of fresh coffee, the hum of efficient employees moving with purpose. It was overwhelming. She clutched her employee badge tightly, trying to push down the fear creeping up her spine. Ethan's assistant, Claire, handed her a schedule. Your job is simple. Organize files, take notes, and assist Mr. Kingston with daily tasks. If he asks for something, you get it done. No excuses. Samantha nodded quickly, determined not to mess this up. The first few days were a whirlwind. She was tasked with everything from fetching coffee to organizing contracts worth millions. Each time she hesitated, Ethan would give her that sharp, unreadable look, like he was waiting for her to fail. But she refused to. Late one evening, long after most employees had left, she found herself struggling to carry a stack of files into Ethan's office. He glanced up from his computer, frowning. Why are you still here? She set the files down, breathing hard. You needed these sorted. He leaned back, studying her. You could have done it tomorrow. She shook her head. You said urgent means urgent. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then, to her surprise, Ethan let out a quiet chuckle. You take things seriously, he murmured, almost to himself. Samantha bit her lip. I can't afford not to. His expression shifted, something almost thoughtful flashing in his eyes. Good. I need people like that around me. Days turned into weeks, and something began to change. Ethan's cold demeanor softened just slightly. He started trusting her with bigger tasks. He noticed when she skipped lunch and would casually drop off a sandwich on her desk without a word. When a senior executive spoke down to her in a meeting, Ethan shut him down with a single glare. And then came the night that changed everything. Samantha was working late again, lost in spreadsheets, when she heard Ethan's voice, low, sharp, and uncharacteristically tense. Cancel my meeting. I'm not leaving her alone. Her brows furrowed. Who was he talking about? She quietly stepped closer to the doorway, heart pounding. Then she heard it. Her name. Her stomach flipped as realization dawned. Ethan Kingston, the Billionaire CEO, was staying late not because of work, but because of her. Samantha's breath caught in her throat. She stood frozen by the doorway, her heart hammering in her chest. Did she hear that right? Ethan was staying late because of her? She slowly stepped back, but before she could retreat, Ethan's voice cut through the air. You might as well come in, he said without looking up. Her stomach twisted. Had he seen her? She hesitated, then stepped into his office, hands clasped together. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Ethan finally met her gaze. His expression was unreadable, but there was something different in his eyes, something softer. You work too much. She blinked. So do you. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. Fair point. He leaned back in his chair, watching her for a long moment before finally sighing. Why do you push yourself so hard? Samantha hesitated. No one had ever asked her that before. My little brother, she admitted quietly. I take care of him. It's just the two of us. Ethan nodded as if he already knew. Maybe he did. He had a way of noticing things no one else did. And that's why you needed this job so badly? She nodded. I would have taken anything, honestly. I just needed something stable. Ethan tapped his fingers against the desk, his eyes locked on hers. So if I hadn't hired you, I'd still be knocking on doors, hoping someone would take a chance on me. Silence stretched between them. Then Ethan stood up, walking around his desk until he was standing right in front of her. You don't owe me anything, he said quietly. You earned your place here. Samantha swallowed hard. Then why are you staying late just because of me? For the first time, she saw him hesitate. His jaw clenched slightly before he finally exhaled. Because I don't want you walking home alone at this hour. It's not safe. Her breath hitched. No one had ever looked out for her like this before. She should have said thank you. She should have played it cool. But instead, she blurted out, "Are you always this protective of your employees?" Ethan smirked. "Number just you." Samantha's cheeks burned. She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, a knock on the door interrupted them. Claire, Ethan's assistant, poked her head in. "Sir, your driver is waiting." Ethan didn't even glance her way. His eyes were still locked on Samantha. "Tell him to wait," he said, his voice firm. Claire blinked but quickly nodded, closing the door behind her. Samantha couldn't believe it. He was serious. He was really staying. And in that moment, something between them shifted, something neither of them could ignore.